All right, fantastic. Welcome everyone to the How to Land Your Dream Job workshop. I'm so excited that you took the opportunity to kick it with us today. I know you could have been doing a lot of things, but hey, you're here. So, hey, I hope that we bring you a lot of value, especially as you think about landing your dream job. I'm super excited also because we have some really dynamic speakers. One right here. But seriously, we have the world champ of public speaking here today. We also have Christopher, who put together this amazing event. I just want to say thank you for considering me, even for this opportunity to really just share my journey and hopefully add some value to you all today. So thank you so much today. So just want to introduce myself. I feel like we already know each other because we've been in Toastmasters. But today, you all, I'm going to talk about creating a winning mindset to land your dream job. But as I said, I feel like we know each other. I feel like I don't need an introduction, but I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. So again, my name is Andrea Fitzgerald, and by day I'm a author and a speaker, and I really focus on supporting new teachers and really building their confidence and self-efficacy. A lot of times when people say, oh, I want to be a teacher because I want to help kids, honestly, y'all, I just want to wear sweatpants. That was it. As a former athlete, and I was working in the NBA, and I said, what can I do where I still get my sweatpants and make a little bit of money? I said, oh, I'll be a PE teacher. So that didn't work out. I became a math teacher, but it was such an amazing experience because teaching taught me so much. It was more than just teaching math. It's really about seeing kids believe in themselves. It's a game changer. So that's really my hope. My purpose really is to build the confidence and self-efficacy of people. That's why I do what I do. So that's me in a nutshell. But we're going to go ahead and kick it off today. But can we start off with a pop quiz, y'all? Little pop quiz? Okay. I know it's Saturday, school is out, but we can kick it off with that. Complete this sentence for me. On your mark, get set, go. Yeah, that's it. Y'all win. Okay, y'all passed the test. But when can we remember doing that? When do y'all remember when were y'all doing the on your mark, get set, go? Relay races, right? Outside in the schoolyard, playing with our friends in the neighborhood. You said when? Field day. Yes. So, yes, we're just running races, but as the stakes get higher, college, the Olympics, they have what they call an official starter. Except they shoot a gun. But if you happen to have a bad start, have y'all ever seen when people jump the gun or they have a false start? Automatically you are disqualified. And no, we're not Olympic runners, but the stakes are pretty high because we are talking about our dream jobs. And often woven in our dream job is our purpose, our calling, what it is that we were sent here to do. And everybody in this room, your cousin and them, Pookie, little Pookie, we all have a divine destiny, a purpose of something that we were sent here to do. That thought gonna come back to me in a second, y'all. I got ADHD. It's gonna come right back. But so we have a divine destiny and a calling, something that we were sent here to do. And no, we're not Olympic runners, but we have a divine destiny and calling of what we were sent here to do on this earth. So I think personally for me, I feel like I'm living in my dream job. And I wish I could tell you that it's always been like this, but it hasn't. As I was preparing, I was thinking about a moment many years ago. I had just wrapped up my coursework I had just wrapped up my coursework in graduate school. And I was working in the NBA as an intern with the Charlotte Bobcats, Charlotte Sting. And I was really trying to figure out what my next move was. So I thought, well, I want to, my dream job at this time is to work in the NBA. But I had gotten a call from the Atlanta Hawks, and they had said there was an internship available. And they wanted me to do an interview. But up to this point, every time I got an interview, I got the job. So I thought, well, this is going to be no different. I decided that my next move was to go home to the house. Now, I don't know about you that's been in college and you have those 2 a.m., 3 a.m. runs to the Taco Bell. But when you go back home, it's 11 p.m. curfew. It hits a little different. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back home. But while I'm at home, y'all, I have applied for no jobs. Like not one. I have not applied for not one job because I know I'm about to get this job in Atlanta. Come on in. Come on in. Let's land that dream job. Yes, yes. Welcome. But I just knew that I was about to get a job. I didn't apply for not one. So I get the first interview with Atlanta. Check, check. Knock it at the park. I'm moving to my next round of the interview process. I get the interview, and y'all, I'm murdering that thing like Michael Myers. I'm killing this interview. I get to the last question. They say, tell me a little bit more about yourself. Now, what are you supposed to answer on that question? What are you supposed to say when you get this question? Your experience, how amazing you are. Listen, y'all know what I said to this lady. I'm a twin. She looked at me like I had 6 eyes and 4 feet. I was like, dang, I must answer that question well. So I go back home, and guess what I'm still not doing? Searching for jobs. I am not. but I still thought I was going to get this job. Even though it did not go well, with that last question, I had murdered the rest of it. So I was like, oh, yeah, of course, I'm gonna get this job. Well, I got the notification. Y'all already know the dudes on this. I'm a twin. How'd that go? I did not get the job. And I was devastated. I felt my heart drop down to the floor. I remember I sat in my brother's room because he was away at college. I didn't even have my own room, y'all. I sat in that room for about 2 days looking at these yellow curtains. And it was a complete opposite of what I felt inside of me because it was for the first time there was no certainty. As a basketball player, I knew I had practice at 5. I had class at 8, practice again. It was a whole lot of certainty. I knew what was going to happen. But in this moment, I had no clue. I had no job. I think I had $32 in my account. I didn't even have my own place. Hell, I didn't even have my own room, y'all. And on top of that, I don't know if you got a black mama, but if your black mama say, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm going to need you to get what? Out or a job. I'm going to need you to find something to do because you will not be sucking up all the air up in here. So I'm like, dang, I gotta get a job. So I really had no idea what my next move was. Just sitting in a dark room with no money, no job, not even my own place. And I wish I could tell you that I just said, okay, I'm going to jump out of the bed. I'm going to land my dream job. But it was not like that. But what helped me get out of that bed was the same thing that helped me earn a Division I scholarship despite being cut in 7th and 8th grade. It's the same thing that helped me when I screamed and yelled my entire first year and my class was off the chain and I failed my teacher certification exam 3 times. That helped me become, even despite that, still become a speaker and an author now helping new teachers. And that thing, you all, is my mindset. It's my mentality. Because the reality, friends, is we cannot outperform our beliefs. Period. You are going to get a ton of game today. Listen, I already saw Ramona. She bringing the gems. You hear me? She dropped the heat in Knoxville. Chris, he bringing the game of how to do it. But without the mindset and the thinking, then we may not get there. So I want to share with you today 5 ways that help me get out of that bed to now what I think is living in my dream job. Because, y'all, I get to speak for a living. I get to pour into people. Could I ask for anything else? Could be anything better. So I'm so excited about that. But I just want to share with you the 5 things that help me get there. But I want to just say this before we get there. Raise your hand if you feel like you living in your dream job. Okay, Chris, come through. Listen here, put this whole thing together. All right. Well, those of you that are not, I really feel like I want to ask more questions, but I'm going to be respectful of my time. I really want to be like, well, tell me what it would be. But just start thinking about that right now. Like, what is that thing that would be for you if that is your dream job? And I want to tell you all that it doesn't matter if you are not there right now. You can always start where you are. Listen, no job, no money, $32 in my account. And look at me now. So I want to start off with the very first one. Stay humble, stay hungry, take risks and action, ask for help, relationships, and lastly, take the L's. They will make you a champ. So let's start with the first one. Stay humble and stay hungry. Raise your hand if you ever been hangry. Listen, this one right here, when she hangry, it's on and popping. You hear me? Listen, you in the room now, okay? Yes, raise your hand, you been hungry. Listen, when I'm hangry, it's real serious out here, okay? So I was a latchkey kid, and often when I go home, I go look in the refrigerator, and yeah, I call it the refrigerator. I'm from Memphis, okay? So I go look in the refrigerator. Guess what? It is nothing in there. You go look to the pantry. Guess what? It ain't nothing in there. And you go back to the refrigerator and you hope that something miraculously shows itself, but guess what? It never does. So one day, y'all, I was so hungry, I took the mini rice in the red box, I put the duck sauce, the soy sauce, I put all the sauces in there, and I made this rice, and it was delicious. Now, it wasn't my EL fudge cookies or my hot chips, but I was so hungry that I made something out of nothing. When we think about our dream job, that's the same type of hunger that we have to have when we really go after it. Because it may not always look the way that you want to. The first thing I did when I was trying to figure out what I was going to do, I hopped out of bed, I went to Macy's, and they hired me on the spot. Guess how much I was making? $7.50 an hour. $7.50 an hour. I get that job, and they say once you get one job, now you get another one. I got the job with the Grizzlies. They had reached out to me, but guess how much money I was making then? Less than $1,000 a month. After taxes, about $800. And I could have been like, you know what, girl, you got a whole master's degree. Why are you taking these jobs $750 an hour with $1,000 a month? But because of the hunger, I knew that one thing I needed was experience. These jobs were few and far between. Becoming like working in the NBA, there weren't a lot of these opportunities, so I had to take what I can get. So I hopped on it, I did my thing, and because of that hunger and because of me being humble enough to do the things that most people weren't willing to, you're an intern. If there's something that people like, they're like, oh, we have to stay late, that's gonna be you. That's your job. But because I did that, it earned me a full-time position. So what we want to consider when we're talking about staying humble and staying hungry is not to allow our pride to not propel us into our purpose. Just because it doesn't look the way we think it does. Some people, they come out the gate. Like they come out with the Caitlin Clark energy, the LeBron James, and they kill it right out the gate. I wasn't that type of person, so I had to get the experience and humble myself and possibly do things that just were not, maybe didn't look the way it should look with a salary position because I was hungry for what I wanted. So we get hungry, and that's great. You can have hunger, but we already know at the end of the day, we got to take action and we got to take risks. I just want to shout you out, Chris, because you took a real risk to put yourself out here and to have this event. Like, let's just give him a round of applause for that. Because we can talk about, I don't know if you've ever heard that quote by, I'll talk about the man in the arena. Have you ever heard of that? So they always say it's easy to sit on the sidelines and talk about what you can do, but it's a whole other thing when you decide to actually do it. So really, you should give yourself a round of applause for it. It ain't always be perfect, right? But the beautiful thing about taking action is that two things happen when you take action. Because I'm telling y'all, my parents used to be real worried about me, y'all. Because I didn't like to work. I really did, and I hated working. Like, the longest I had a job was 1 month. I get a job and I quit. They're like, dang, man, I'm kind of worried about her. So once I figured out what I was excited about, it was on and popping though. But it's crazy. I used to hate working, but I've had about, I don't know, maybe 7 to 10 jobs. I've had a lot. I was a basketball coach. I worked in the NBA. Teacher, math coach, speaker, consultant. I've done a lot of things. Tutor, oh yeah, I do that too. T-shirts, dude, yes. I'm a serial entrepreneur, guys. But because I did that, the first thing that happened was I got clarity. Every time that I tried something out, I got clear on what the thing was that I wanted to do. I'd done basketball my whole life, but you know what I realized? I hated being a basketball coach. I didn't like it. It was so boring to me. I didn't want to watch people in practice. I'd given basketball my everything. In the NBA, I love variety. Every day was different. Some days I was at a desk. Some days I was at an event. Some days I was at a game. I loved that. As a teacher, it was about those light bulb moments, seeing people believe in themselves, the power in that. And as a coach, one time they sent me to a conference. I saw a speaker speak on the stage. I said, ooh, I like that. I want to try that out. I did it the next year, and I said, ooh, yeah, that's it. That's what I want to do. But I didn't get there by sitting on the sidelines. One day this room gonna be full of people, but we don't get there by sitting on the sidelines. You got to take action, and you have to take the risks. The other thing about taking risk and taking action, if you look on this picture, I was in the classroom. I've been speaking probably now for 15 years. I was doing the same thing on different platforms. If you look back in your life and you think about those moments where it was like, oh man, I love this, like your soul lit up, like you know it, it's a feeling, it's internal. When you experience it, like often your purpose is woven in there. I've been doing the same thing for 20 years now, probably. Convincing kids to believe in themselves before I did the math, before they could actually do the math. Convincing teachers to say, hey, try this strategy because this is going to help your students. My soul has always lit up when I see people believing in themselves. So just think about that. When you take risk and take action, you're going to get clarity. The third thing is to ask for help. I wish I could tell you that I just hopped out of that bed one day and I just did it all by myself. I said, yeah, girl, we're going to be a speaker. I'm going to do this all on my own. When I reflect on this moment, I think about many, many years ago. Y'all know the microwave above the stove. Why I try to do it by myself? Yes, I know. Yes, why I try to do it myself. And the crazy thing is, she told me before she left, she was like, don't do it. And I was like, yeah, girl, I've been lifting weights, so I'm about to move it by myself. Well, guys, it did not go well. I'll just let you know. I had on khakis just like this, blood all over my knee, bust my knee. Not only that, I burst the stove. She cannot cook. It's World War III when she gets home, so it did not go well, needless to say. So I run next door to my neighbor, and I'm like, Miss Nancy, I'm freaking out now. I was like, can you please help me? She runs over to help me. Well, she didn't run, but because he's like 70 years old. So, I had to get like a 70-year-old to help me take the microwave down. So she helps me take the microwave down. It took a matter of 2 minutes, probably less than that. We just hooked it off, and that was it. We get there a lot quicker when we get help. We can say to ourselves, oh, I'm going to do this all alone. There's coaches, there's mentors, there's relationships that we build, there's programs, there's podcasts, whatever it is. Because getting help is about acquiring more tools. I sat on the idea of becoming a speaker for 3 years. I get with a coach. We had a couple sessions. And she was like, yep, we doing this. Accountability and action. We get there so much faster with help. Now, the other part of help is something to consider is this. One of my biggest investments in getting help is my therapist. I tell people all the time, Lord, I'm crazy as hell, y'all. I'm crazy. Because if we're not aware of our patterns, our traumas, the things that we've experienced, it can get it away. It can block us from our blessing of where we're trying to go because that stuff and those blind spots are still there. So talking it through with somebody to help you address those things. I remember one time, my therapist, we had talked about the same thing 3 sessions in a row. And she was like, okay, girl, what's going on here? She said, do you believe this is possible? I said, you know what, Tony? I don't. Let's unpack that. So deal with, heal, do the work of you so that you can get to that next level and land that dream job for yourself. The R is relationships, relationships, relationships. Raise your hand if you've ever heard the phrase, it's not what you know, but who you know. What do you think about that? What do you think about that phrase? You said what? Agree. Absolutely. I do as well. It's all about, I mean, unfortunately, it's not unfortunately, but unfortunately, it is a big part of who you know, right? Because that know, like, and trust factor is huge. When I first got my first teaching job, it was two candidates. It was between me and another candidate. The other young lady, she had her license, she had passed her praxis. I had none of those, and I didn't have experience. She did. But they chose to hire me. Why? Because the hiring person was my former basketball coach. He knows my work ethic, he knows how I operate, he knows all those things. So he knows that I can translate that same energy as a basketball player to the work that I do as a teacher. But relationships will take you to a whole nother level. I'm gonna talk about something that happened the other night. Shout out to Ramona J. Smith. Shout out to Ramona. So listen. We was having a conversation talking about relationship. You get a lot of value from the relationships that you have. So I know Chris, but through Chris, I meet Ramona. We having a conversation of the night. She pushing me to have a conversation about like, okay, so what do you do on your sales calls? And I was like, oh, I got a blind spot. But I don't see that without that relationship. That's gonna take me to a whole other level because now she's exposed something for myself. I'm like, oh wow. So it's a lot of value in connections. We are always one relationship away from us going to that next level. I had no clue. She was like, okay, girl, we got to do this. Right? So it's a lot of value in that. The other aspect of relationships is something to consider is that often your dream job is not about you. Your life experiences literally are meant for someone else. My coach told me one time, she said, you know that when you don't live in your gift, that you're being selfish. Like you like Becky with the gun in the movie trying to shoot Michael Myers. You just like this. Just not pulling the trigger. But guess what's happening? While you over here trying to wait on to pull the trigger of your dream job, there's other people out here suffering. They need what you have. Your pain was not for nothing. They need you. So just consider that the thing that you're called to do, that should light a fire under you to know, like, I got to do this. It's really not even about me. Personally, I mean, I feel like I'm kind of introvert. I had this conversation the other day. They were like, yeah, okay, girl, no, you're not. I am an introvert. I am an introvert. Anyways, I really do. I mean, I like speaking, but whatever. But it was, I realized that me doing what I do, it's really not about me. It's about helping kids. Because if they have a great teacher, then students will get what they need. If Becky out here struggling and she can't see the forest from the trees, then students can't get what they need. Therefore, up there goes our city. It's a whole thing. So our gift is often not just for us. The last thing I'll say is take the L's because they're going to make you phenomenal. Raise your hand if you love losing. Love losing. Like you love losing. It's finesse. I love to lose. Most of us don't, right? I don't like to lose. I'm actually a sore loser. Like one time I was hooping with my boyfriend in high school. Listen, I was about to lose. I pushed that man down the hill. I hate losing. I'm talking about with a passion, baby. Now this is I think you got me beat, Christina. Let's not play trouble, okay? Anyways. But losing, even though it doesn't feel good, it often helps us become champions. Because every time we lose, we learn. I was a state champion in triple jump, but most people don't know I lost to the same person 4 times. Same person. Every time I made an adjustment, I learned from it. And the thought of that is perspective. Write this down if you don't remember anything I say today. Write this equation down. E plus R equals O. The E stands for the event. Life gonna life. It's gonna do what it do. It's gonna happen. But the O, that's the outcome. That's the good. You want to know the difference between the good, the great, and the unstoppable? Is that thing in the middle, the response. We get to decide that. That's on us because things are gonna happen, especially Like I was telling Chris earlier, I was like, yo, like as an entrepreneur, you just know, like it happens. You have in your mind this how it's gonna go, and most times, like things happen. So you got to be willing to adjust, right? So it's a matter of perspective. So we're gonna land this plane, and you gonna land your dream job, baby. You gonna land this plane, okay? All right, raise your hand if you ever had a hoopty. You had a hoopty. You know what hoopty is? It, yeah, look at him. See, he young. He don't know a hoopty. Yeah, that's a car. It's a lemon, man. It's like your car. That thing terrible. You said what? Yeah, hoopty. It is a car. It's like yo, that thing. It barely move. Okay. Listen. So I was riding down the street in my car. I had just bought it a year earlier, and all the lights on the dashboard started going off. I started freaking out. I slick had trauma because the year before my car quit on me in the middle of the street. So I was like, dang, my car gonna die. I get to the gym. I started looking where everybody looks when you have a problem, when you sick, where you look. Google. And Google will have you convinced you about to die. You'll be like, yep, I'm about to die. So I thought when I looked at that Google, I said, my car is about to die. I go to my class. After I finish, I call AutoZone. Not I call AutoZone. I go to AutoZone. Let me get it right. So I go to the AutoZone. They were like, girl, you need to call Honda. We can't help you. I'm like, dang, okay. I called a Honda dealership, and they're like, Miss Fitzgerald, it sounds like you have about a $6,000 problem. I was like, ooh, I ain't got $6,000. We about to go where everybody look when you trying to solve an issue by yourself. YouTube. So I go to YouTube, and they start giving me a couple little tricks. I try them out. None of them work. My car is still sick. It's under the weather. So I'm like, dang, okay. So I'm just convinced at this point, my car it doesn't work. It's a lemon. They sold me a bad car. It sits in the driveway for 2 months. Christina has to go out of town, so now I have got to figure out what's going on with my car. Okay, get it towed to the dealership. Bill, my service rep, calls me, says, Miss Fitzgerald, I got some good news and I got some bad news. The good news, you just need a battery. It's going to be about $200. It's like, okay, good. The bad news, yeah, it's a recall on your car. That's why your car been acting like that. But it won't be ready till Friday. We don't have a part. So I go pick up the car, and y'all ever get the little report card when you get an oil change? Green, it's all good. Yellow, requires attention. Red is, baby, you need to fix that right now. So I get there. I get my little report card. All green check marks. The car's in great condition. But it never moved out of the driveway because of my thinking. It just needed a new battery. How often are we just like that car? We have the report card. Life has told us, life experiences have shown us we are brilliant, we are smart, we are talented, we got everything inside of us to land our dream job and live in our purpose. But because of our thinking or our battery, the car never moves. The battery is what makes the car go, right? So we've got to shift our mindsets and have the mentality that we are here to win. You got everything you need inside of you. So my challenge to you is to start the car, because you have everything inside of you to live in and land your dream job. And that's my time. If you would, please give your feedback. I would love that so I can grow and become the best speaker ever. Thank you so much. It's my time, and now we'll transition over. Thank you so much.